Hello dear viewers, and welcome to the Conflict Zone YouTube channel. The methodology behind Ukraine's military daily updates on Russian personnel losses remains somewhat unclear. However, it appears to encompass overall casualties, including missing or non-combat related deaths among Russian fighters. According to Nick Reynolds, a research fellow specializing in land warfare at the Royal United Services Institute think tank in London, Russia has suffered significant losses in the past week, with nearly 7,000 troops, 98 tanks, and over 200 artillery systems affected, as reported by Ukraine's military to Newsweek. As Moscow advances on various fronts, the toll on Russian forces, according to Kiev's military, amounts to 46,800 troops lost since February 2022. Over the course of more than 2 years of full-scale war, Russia has reportedly lost 6,640 tanks and 1,088 artillery systems, as per Ukraine's updates. While accurate casualty counts and equipment losses are readily available, Newsweek has sought comment from the Russian Defense Ministry to provide additional context. These figures offer a glimpse into the cumulative impact of years of conflict on Russia's military capabilities. In late January, Britain's Armed Forces Minister, James Happ, informed UK lawmakers that Russia had suffered around 350,000 casualties in Ukraine, excluding mercenaries. The Kremlin rarely discloses its casualty figures, and Kiev only sporadically updates its losses. Russia does not publicly report Ukrainian losses, but Moscow claimed that Ukraine lost almost 1,000 soldiers in the previous 24 hours as of Sunday. Newsweek has reached out to the Ukrainian military for a response. In late February, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky stated that over 31,000 Ukrainian soldiers had died in the ongoing conflict. U.S. officials in August 2023 reported to the New York Times that approximately 70,000 Ukrainian soldiers had been killed, with up to 120,000 wounded. These losses coincide with Russia's territorial gains in eastern and southern Ukraine, while Ukrainian forces await further aid deliveries from Western backers. Having seized the former Ukrainian stronghold of Avdiivka in the Donetsk region last month, Russia has continued its westward advance, capturing villages like Stavelkin and Kver. Ukraine's military, on Sunday, claimed to have repelled more than a dozen attacks, including near Orka northwest of Lkin and Burish north of Orka. Russia, countering Ukraine's claims, asserted on Sunday that its forces repelled 11 Ukrainian counterattacks, particularly around Orka and Berichi. Geolocated footage indicates Russian advances in central and eastern Oriva in recent days. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, a U.S. think tank, reported on Saturday that Russian military command is deploying additional elements for offensive operations west of Avdiivka, suggesting an ongoing effort to advance before Ukrainian forces establish more robust defenses. The ISW further noted Moscow's troops advancing west and south of the Russian-controlled city of Sloviansk, including east of the village of Terny. On Sunday, Ukraine reported successfully repelling attacks around Terny and the town of Tabka, located northwest of the Moscow-controlled city of Spat. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, has previously characterized Russia's intensified operations around Sadov, Sloviansk, and Kupiansk, a key railway hub, as a cohesive multi-axis offensive operation. The commander of the 13th Brigade of Ukraine's National Guard acknowledged Russia's success in this sector of the front line, as reported to Newsweek on Tuesday. Additionally, Moscow has made gains in the village of Kinki on the east bank of the Dnieper River in the Kherson region, where Ukraine has been working to expand control, according to the ISW's Saturday report. Simultaneously, Ukraine's European allies are gradually assembling the financing and industrial resources required to supply the necessary artillery ammunition. Various initiatives, including a European Union arms deal, a Czech bulk ammo purchase, and bilateral agreements between Ukraine and individual allied countries, are set to ship at least 700,000 shells over the next few months. If Russia-friendly Republicans in the U.S. Congress end their blockade of U.S. aid to Ukraine in the coming month or so, as expected, Ukrainian batteries could receive a windfall of over 1 million shells as spring transitions to summer. Despite the need for more artillery ammunition to match Russia's supply from its factories in North Korea, these efforts are expected to provide enough ammunition for the Ukrainian armed forces. This should enable them, at least, to hold the line against Russia's larger armed forces and potentially plan for a new offensive. The quantity and quality of artillery ammunition may play a decisive role as Russia's wider war on Ukraine enters its third year. Notably, it was artillery parity, facilitated by a U.S. purchase of 1 million South Korean shells, that allowed Ukraine to take the offensive last summer. The interruption of U.S. aid and the withholding of approximately 100,000 shells this winter forced Ukraine to relinquish battlefield momentum to Russia. Meanwhile, Russia's sustained offensive this year has been fueled by the Kremlin's purchase of around 400,000 shells per month from North Korea for 4 consecutive months, starting in September, according to an official at Ukraine's intelligence directorate. Despite a high dud rate, with as many as half of the shells being ineffective, the Russians are reportedly firing around 10,000 shells daily along the 600-mile front of their broader conflict. In contrast, the Ukrainians are firing only 2,000 shells a day. Although the Ukrainians have compensated to some extent by deploying as many as 50,000 explosives-laden first-person view drones each month, an FPV drone cannot fully replace a 155mm shell, which carries 25 pounds of explosives. With more ammunition, Ukrainian gunners could potentially disrupt Russian gunners who have been massing out in the open for devastating salvos that level Ukrainian fortifications. The abrupt blockade of ammo supplies by Republicans might not have been as damaging to Ukraine's war plans if the European Union had fulfilled its pledge to supply Ukraine with 1 million shells in 2023.